What would happen if a man from 1750 found himself in the year 2022? Could he adapt to the drastic changes in this modern world? Or is his journey through time a part of a larger destiny he has yet to understand? The story begins with Sarah, a woman living in a small rural town with her father, Kelvin, and her young son, Henry. Together, they manage a family farm, working the land and caring for their animals. Recently, Sarah has taken it upon herself to teach Henry the art of farming, passing down the skills that have sustained their family for generations. It's an ordinary evening, much like any other. Sarah is in the kitchen, preparing dinner alongside her father, while Henry has gone out to the farm to tend to the chickens. The air is calm, filled with the familiar sounds of the countryside. However, the peaceful routine is abruptly disrupted. Out by the chicken coop, Henry spots a man he's never seen before. The stranger has an unkempt appearance, with wild, overgrown hair and a beard that speaks of months, if not years, without grooming. His clothes are peculiar, looking completely out of place, as if they belong to another era. Startled and uneasy, Henry quickly turns and sprints back to the house. Bursting through the door, he urgently calls for his mother, his voice filled with alarm. "Mom, there's a weird man near the farm. He looks like he doesn't belong here, like he might be a thief or something." Alarmed by Henry's warning, Sarah grabs her shotgun and rushes out to the farm. The mysterious man is still standing there, his odd appearance illuminated by the faint glow of the setting sun. Sarah steps forward cautiously, her voice firm as she demands, "Who are you, and what are you doing on our property?" To her surprise, the man looks as frightened as she feels. Stammering, he says something unexpected. I thought this was my home." His words are disjointed, and his confused expression makes it clear that he doesn't fully understand where he is. Curious, but cautious, Sarah switches on the nearby floodlight to get a better look at him. The moment the light flickers on, the man jumps back in terror, his eyes wide with panic. "What kind of sorcery is this?" he exclaims. His gaze darts to Sarah, and he adds, "Are you a witch? How are you glowing with this magical light?" Stunned, Sarah realizes that he has no idea what electricity is. His confusion only deepens as he looks at her clothing. "And why are you wearing trousers? Are you pretending to be a man?" Sarah starts to wonder if this man is not just lost, but possibly insane. She notices a gash on his forehead, which might explain his disorientation and strange behavior. Lowering her gun slightly but still wary, she calls for her father, Kelvin. Together, they bring the man into the house, offering him some food to calm him down. While he eats ravenously, Sarah carefully tends to the wound on his head, suspecting it might be the cause of his memory loss and peculiar speech. As she works, she gently coaxes information out of him. Finally, the man manages to recall a fragment of his identity. "My name is Rip," he says hesitantly. Though Rip still can't explain how he ended up on their farm or why his memories are so scattered, Sarah feels a small sense of relief. At least now they have something to work with. Concerned about the strange man's situation, Sarah reaches out to her friend Teddy, a local policeman. Teddy, who secretly harbors feelings for Sarah, agrees to help but knows she only sees him as a close friend. After hearing Sarah's account, Teddy suggests identifying the man, who calls himself Rip, by running his fingerprints through the police database. When Teddy arrives at the farm, Rip is immediately startled by the sight of the police car. "What kind of carriage is this? How does it move without a horse?" he asks, his voice filled with amazement and confusion. Sarah and Teddy exchange uneasy glances, but decide not to press him further. At the station, Teddy carefully takes Rip's fingerprints and begins searching through the system. To his astonishment, there is no record of Rip anywhere, not in the national database, not even a trace of his existence. "This doesn't make any sense," Teddy mutters, baffled by the results. Determined to get answers, Teddy takes Rip to the local hospital for a medical evaluation. After a thorough checkup, the doctor delivers unexpected news. "There's no sign of any head injury," the doctor explains, "and his memory appears intact. Physically, he's completely healthy." Frustrated and out of options, Teddy decides to leave Rip at the hospital for further observation overnight. However, Rip is visibly uneasy in the unfamiliar environment. The bright lights, advanced medical equipment, and bustling hospital staff seem to terrify him. His bewildered questions about the strange machines make it clear that he's never encountered anything like this before. By morning, Rip has had enough. Overwhelmed and frightened, he slips out of the hospital unnoticed and makes his way back to Sarah's farm. Rip confides in Sarah, his voice filled with despair. He admits that he cannot make sense of what's happening or how he ended up in this unfamiliar world. But he knows one thing for certain: he doesn't want to leave. Moved by his sincerity, Sarah agrees to let him stay, offering him food and shelter. Later, Teddy arrives at the farm, having been searching for Rip since his escape from the hospital. He voices his concerns to Sarah. "There's no record of him anywhere. For all we know, he could be dangerous, or even a terrorist," Teddy warns. But Sarah, trusting her instincts, insists, "I don't believe that. He seems like a good man." plan. Until his memory returns, he'll stay here. During a conversation, Rip shares a fragmented memory. I fought in a war, somewhere in America, he recalls. And this triggers Sarah's curiosity, as one of her neighbors had a relative who went missing during a war long ago. Hoping to uncover a connection, Sarah and Kelvin help Rip clean up, cutting his overgrown hair and beard. However, once they're done, it's clear that Rip looks nothing like the missing man. Despite the lingering mystery, Rip proves himself hardworking and reliable on the farm. Impressed by his efforts, Sarah decides to give him a steady job until his memory returns. She and Kelvin prepare a small cabin on the property where Rip can stay. When Rip sees the cabin, he freezes, staring at it as if it holds a secret only he can understand. This is my house, he says with certainty, his voice trembling. Sarah is taken aback. That can't be. This cabin has been here on the farm for generations. Rip insists on going inside and Sarah follows. Once inside, Rip looks around, murmuring about how the interior has changed. His attention is drawn to one of the wooden beams, and he points out faint markings etched into the wood. These are Roman numerals, he explains. When I was 8 years old, I carved my date of birth and my initials right here. To everyone's astonishment, the carvings are still there. Sarah examines the markings closely. The date Rip claims to have carved is from the year 1756, 266 years ago. The realization sends a shiver down her spine. The cabin and its carvings predate even her father's birth. Rip, stunned, struggles to process the truth. It's the year 2022, he whispers, his voice filled with disbelief. Until now, he had believed it was still 1787. The weight of this revelation is too much for him to bear, and he collapses, unconscious, leaving Sarah and Kelvin staring at him in shock, their minds racing with questions about who or what Rip truly is. When Rip regains consciousness, Kelvin hands him a book and says, "This is the story of a man named Rip Van Winkle. Could you be connected to him?" Curious, Rip begins to read the book, and as he finishes, he exclaims, "This Rip Van Winkle, he is my father." Sarah, surprised by his claim, shakes her head. "That's impossible. Rip Van Winkle is just a made-up story, a piece of fiction." But Rip insists, and as he reads, memories start flooding back. Slowly, he begins to tell his story. "When I was young, my father left us," Rip says, his voice heavy with emotion. "He just disappeared one day, and I had to take care of the house and everything else. Life wasn't easy. As time went on, my mother passed away, and to keep our home and lives together, I married my sister with someone. When I turned 17, I was called to fight in the war for America's freedom. I was even shot in the war, but I survived." He pauses for a moment before continuing. "After the war, I went back home and started farming again. But by then, everyone I loved was gone. I had no one left, and I was completely alone. Then one day, out of nowhere, my father came back, but he looked exactly the same as he had the day he left, like he hadn't aged a single day." Rip explains how his father shared an unbelievable story. He told us that he had wandered into the forest, climbed the mountains, and found a cave. Inside, he drank some kind of strange liquor and fell asleep. When he woke up, 20 years had passed. None of the villagers believed him, and honestly, neither did I, but he swore it was true. Eventually, curiosity got the better of Rip. I decided to see for myself. I went to the forest, climbed the mountain, and found the cave, just as my father had described. I went inside and it started raining heavily outside, so I stayed there to wait out the storm. Then, when I left the cave, everything outside had changed. That same night, while wandering around confused, I met Henry. Rip pauses, looking at Sarah and Kelvin, and says, "Now I understand. That cave, it's a portal through time. I went into it in 1787 and came out here in 2022. When I first came out, I didn't remember much, but now everything is clear." Despite Rip's heartfelt explanation, Sarah finds it hard to believe. "That's an incredible story, but I'm not convinced," she says. "We need real answers. I'll take you to the city soon for more medical tests." Though Sarah is still skeptical, she can't deny how much Rip has bonded with her family. He has become a part of their lives, helping with the farm and fitting into their routines. Rip also comes to the aid of Henry, a young boy who is being bullied at school. Drawing on the self-defense techniques he learned in his own time, Rip teaches Henry how to stand up for himself. Henry, who has always deeply missed his father, finds great joy and comfort in Rip's mentorship. Sarah notices how much happier Henry has become and begins to feel a growing attraction to Rip herself. Meanwhile, Rip's crops have grown well, and he proves helpful in selling them, further endearing himself to the community. A few weeks later, Sarah has a scheduled doctor's appointment, and she travels to New York with Rip. Upon arriving, Rip is in awe of the towering buildings and marvels at how humans managed to construct such enormous structures. At the medical facility, doctors perform a full-body scan on Rip and hypnotize him to confirm his story. Despite the hypnosis, Rip recounts the same events, unwavering in his claims. The scan reveals an old bullet lodged in his body, which Rip explains was from a battle he fought in during the war. When the bullet is examined, experts determine that it was manufactured around the 1700s, corroborating Rip's story. Intrigued by his tale, Sarah takes Rip to meet a physics professor. After hearing Rip's account, the professor presents a theory. During storms near the cave Rip described, specific elements in the area may react in a way that creates a temporary wormhole, facilitating time travel. The professor suggests that Sarah may have inadvertently triggered this wormhole when she found Rip, transporting him to the present day. Realizing the possibility of returning him to his era, Sarah agrees to help Rip find the cave again during the next storm. In the meantime, her affection for Rip deepens, and she struggles with the thought of letting him go. Rip expresses heartfelt gratitude for everything Sarah has done for him, and a bond grows between them that transcends the divide of time. Sarah begins to open up to Rip, sharing her story. She reveals that Henry's father never married her and passed away before Henry was born. After his death, she left the city and moved back to her hometown to live with her father. Since meeting Rip, she has grown fond of him, and she confides that her feelings have deepened over time. Similarly, Henry doesn't seem to feel the absence of his father, as he has formed a connection with Rip. For his part, Rip finds himself drawn to Sarah. He admires her independence, something uncommon in women from his era. The two spend the entire night talking, sharing stories, and getting to know each other. The next day, Sarah takes Rip on a tour of the city, showing him places he hadn't seen before. When they return to the town, Sarah decides to host a party for the entire community. During the celebration, Sarah and Rip spend time together, enjoying each other's company. However, their closeness doesn't go unnoticed. Teddy, who secretly harbors feelings for Sarah, becomes jealous watching them together. Later that evening, as Rip prepares to return to his cabin, Sarah runs after him. Overwhelmed by her emotions, she kisses him and confesses her love. Unbeknownst to them, Teddy has been following from a distance and witnesses the intimate moment. Consumed by anger, Teddy decides to confront Rip. He storms into Rip's cabin and accuses him of manipulating Sarah with lies about his past. Teddy blames Rip for the bullying Henry is facing at school and claims that rumors about Sarah and Rip are spreading throughout the town, tarnishing her reputation. He insists that Rip has caused enough trouble for Sarah and her family, and if he truly cares for her, he should leave them alone. Teddy's words hit Rip hard, making him question whether staying in this time and place is the right decision. Perhaps, Rip thinks, it's time to return to his own era after all. The next morning, Rip left a heartfelt goodbye letter for Sarah. When she read it, she was devastated, realizing she had fallen deeply in love with him. The skies were gloomy, promising another day of rain, but Rip had resolved to leave on his own terms. Determined to find him, Sarah, along with Kelvin and Henry, set out into the forest. However, as they ventured deeper, Henry became overwhelmed and distraught. Kelvin decided to take Henry back home, leaving Sarah to continue the search alone. Undeterred, Sarah pressed on through the woods and eventually discovered the cave where Rip sat, lost in thought and sadness. She rushed to him, her emotions spilling over as she confronted him. Tearfully, she asked why he had chosen to leave them behind. Rip revealed that Teddy had told him he was a burden on everyone, and he didn't want to cause any more trouble for the family. Sarah vehemently denied this, explaining that Rip's presence had brought immense joy to all of them. She told him how Henry had started living a happier life because of Rip, how she herself had found new purpose and love since he arrived. Her words deeply moved Rip, and for the first time, he truly understood how much he meant to them. Overwhelmed with emotion, Rip asked Sarah to marry him. Without hesitation, she agreed. The two of them left the cave together, their hearts full of hope and love. But as they stepped outside, a powerful flash of lightning illuminated the sky. When they glanced back, Rip's bag, which he had left behind in the cave, had mysteriously vanished. It had traveled back in time once again. The scene shifted to the year 1787, where Rip's father stumbled upon the bag. Inside, he found Rip's diary. As he read through its pages, he learned about Rip's incredible journey to the future, his love for Sarah, and the happiness he had found. Moved by the story, Rip's father felt a profound sense of pride and relief, knowing his son had achieved everything he had ever wanted in life. Smiling, he began his journey back to the village. Meanwhile, in the year 2022, Rip and Sarah were now happily married. Together with Henry and Kelvin, they lived a joyous and fulfilling life, proving that love and family could transcend even the boundaries of time. And so their story came to a heartwarming close. For more enchanting tales of time travel, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.
अब आओ ना फिर से मिल जाओ ना फिर से, जलाओ ना मुझे, मिटाओ ना यूं दिल से, अब आओ ना फिर से, मिल जाओ ना फिर से, जलाओ ना मुझे, मिटाओ ना यूं दिल से। कोई प्यार ना दे यूं जैसे मुझको चाहती है तू, जमाने के जैसी न बन, मेरे यार जैसी है तू। जमाना जलाता मुझे, लगाती गले फिर से तू, मैं गिर के उठा हूँ अभी, हर चीज सिखाती है तू। मैं लिख आया कहानी अपनी जो बीती जिंदगानी, अपनी जो खोया मैंने है वो खोया मैं रात जाग के हूँ रोया। मैं लिख आया कहानी अपनी जो बीती जिंदगानी, अपनी जो खोया मैंने है वो खोया मैं रात जाग के हूँ रोया रोया रोया। ख्वाहिश मेरी रह गई तुझसे मिलूं मैं कभी, तुझको मैं प्यार दूं और बेशुमार दूं। दिल तो जला है बहुत, इसकी सजा है बहुत, फिर भी तेरा ही रहा, मेरी नहीं मानता। जितना भी चाहूं तुम्हें, मिलना है दर्द मुझे, होता है क्या इस तरह कोई भी इश्क यहाँ। तुम जो मेरी ना बनी, किसको बताता फिरूं ये दाग दिल अपना, किसको दिखाता फिरूं। वक्त बदलता है सबका, तुझको तो इसका पता था, फिर मुंह क्यों मोड़ गई थी, मुझको यूं छोड़ गई थी। साथ निभाना था मैंने, दिल भी जलाना था मैंने, फिर क्यों मेरी ना बनी थी और ये सजा बन गई थी। जिसको मैं जीता रहा था, ये दर्द पीता रहा था। ऐसी निशानी है तू, ऐसी कहानी है तू। मैं लिख आया कहानी अपनी जो बीती जिंदगानी, अपनी जो खोया मैंने है वो खोया मैं रात जाग के हूँ रोया। मैं लिख आया कहानी अपनी जो बीती जिंदगानी, अपनी जो खोया मैंने है वो खोया मैं रात जाग के हूँ रोया रोया रोया। अब इसके पार है तेरा मेरा ठिकाना, अब इसके पार है तेरा मेरा ठिकाना, अब इसके पार है फिर तुझसे दिल लगाना, अब इसके पार है।